Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with the great James Windsor Smith. Clearly related to Barry Windsor Smith in some capacity. No.
Oh, yeah, he's my daughter.
Oh, okay. James Windsor Smith, who is a artist that I have sort of collaborated with before. We both did Darkest Image 2.
Right.
And so we were like kind of co-collaborators in this book that was a mesh of artists and writers and so forth. But anyways, James currently right now is actually doing his own series called Papa Balloon and Cactus, correct?
Oh, that's right.
So I got my first issue of that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find it because I'm on limited time right now. But I did get the first issue. It was great. And today I'm just basically here to interview James because I want to celebrate his art. It's very unique. I've never seen anything quite like it before. So welcome to the channel, James.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, no problem. So I mean, just to start off with your art, actually, like as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is so different from anything I've ever seen. There's like the way you use lines, and people will be seeing this, of course, right now in the video, but I've never seen anything quite like this. Where'd you develop the style at?
Well, it's a bit of a long story. Like about when I was like 20 years old, I decided to kind of experiment artistically in that I totally rejected outside influences, which is really stupid, but it is what I did. Now, today is actually the 4-year anniversary of my stroke. I've had a couple of strokes, but the first one I had, I lost the ability to draw. I couldn't write or anything. I'm left-handed, and I couldn't use my left hand at all. And I swore if I got those abilities back and I worked really hard, I would never take my art for granted again. And I decided that was the end of that kind of thinking. So ever since then, I've taken all sorts of advice. I've looked at all sorts of artists and just really tried to come up with my own style. But I spent like 20 years rather, with my own style. So it's really hard to really adapt to those outside influences that I had once stupidly rejected. No, I don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that actually, because then you do, like this caught my eye just because you're not following those same, etiquette and rules that, the quote unquote like established artists might use.
Well, thank you very much. But I'd say, well, I did a comic in 2010 under that model, and it would actually feature the cactus and balloon, but it was like, I don't know, it didn't have the confidence that the new stuff has. I was just dumb for doing it that way. And I think that, like, what I've learned since then is what you find in the new stuff, the way I tell a story.
Yeah, and the way you tell a story is also unique. It kind of reminds me, I don't want to say specifically influenced by the Max or anything, or maybe Cerebus or anything, but I think it's unique. Again, just something that I've never like quite read specifically that type of storytelling before. Yeah. But speaking to your disability, I mean, I have the same thing. I also have a disability. And I remember when I got mine, I viciously was the same way. Like, I'm not putting off doing my comics anymore. I'm dedicating my life to it. I'm going to let nothing stand in my way. Has there ever been anything that's kind of hindered you from drawing on a day or anything? Like, how far are you pushing yourself to do this?
Well, I draw almost every day. That there are some days where I just kind of veg out, and then I go in and I'll put in like 8 or 10 hours in a day. When it comes to the end of a campaign, like I work 3 or 4 days, like 12 hours a day, just fulfilling everything and making sure everything works out.
Oh yeah, and that's the life of a comic book creator, people. Like, if you're not working at least over 8 hours a day, are you even making comic books?
Indeed. Hey, yeah, and I gotta say, those are the days I miss. I used to work at Walmart, and it's kind of like manual labor where you're busting your butt every day, and I actually miss that feeling. So it really feels good to get into that zone.
Definitely. I know in my own creative process, like just hammering through a page a day, like it can be difficult sometimes, but the feeling you get afterwards and even during creating it, it's so just like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, for sure.
So who were your influences growing up then?
Well, you're off on the right start. The Max, Sam Keith and Dave Sim are both big influences on me. In fact, Dave Sim has actually done two of my comic book covers, like chase covers, like the current issue and the issue right before it have Dave Sim covers.
Wow. All right. Well, people, that's almost part of the reason why we're here too, is not just for me and James to talk and chat about comic books, but he is doing a Kickstarter, and is it a goal for just that cover or two covers?
Well, I do offer both at a certain level, but that's like the mega levels where you get both of those. They're about $20 each, plus you get some other things like stickers and any of the issues you missed. And then actually, there's an anthology that I'm a part of, kind of like the darkest image too that we worked on. But this is Steve Peters and Bianca Alumar. They're the people behind the comics verse, and this is their baby basically. But I did 8 pages along the line, and that's actually included at that level too.
All right. So yeah, so you're gonna get a lot of goodies supporting the Kickstarter. How many days left does it have?
There's 6 days left.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm supporting myself tomorrow on Friday. This is going to be put out today, Thursday, but it does have 6 days. So there will be a link at the bottom of this video and in the comments of this video in case anyone misses the actual story part of it. But that's great. So Dave actually did a cover for you. How'd you swing that?
I actually wrote to Dave like after my second stroke. Yeah, about 6 months after my stroke, I had another one, but it affected my non-drawing side, so it's not as bad, but the effects are lingering. And I switched to digital art because you don't really know how much you need your other hand while you're drawing until you lose the ability to use it, really. So I wrote to Dave and I sent him a sketchbook saying, "Hey, this is my art now," and I basically told the story of having the second stroke by the last page of the sketchbook I sent to him. So he wrote me back and he sent me like encouraging postcards, and he sent me like some original art. He actually did a Cerebus painting, which is really awesome. So I have that somewhere up on my bookshelf here. Well, you can't really see that, but But yeah, after that, I like donated like $100 to like one of his campaigns for something, and as a reward, he just went on his own and just drew a brand new cover for me. That was
Wow.
pretty.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like, man, I want a Dave Sim cover.
Yeah, in fact, he actually sent me the original art, so I actually have it on my walls.
Wow. Yeah, that's truly awesome. I'm jealous, peanut butter and jealous right now. So I'm gonna guess because we're both around the same age that you also grew up with the madness that was the 90s comic books and just kind of the positive side of the 90s and the downside of the 90s. Where do you fall in line in that?
Well, I liked both, but come on, the positive side is like you got Eddie Campbell, you got Mark Hempel. I've always loved Mark Hempel. A lot of people don't like his Sandman. I think it's the best book of the series.
Yeah, one
You
of
know,
the best.
yeah, for sure. Like Italian Buster, like there were so many great indie guys. Yeah, and then there was the image side of stuff, which is cool, but it's just like eating a banana split, empty calories.
Yeah, I try to go back to some of the image stuff and it surely hasn't aged well. I will say that like some of the art still stands out to me as like iconic, but overall a lot of it I kind of forgot. And a lot of the art, even on the negative side of the 90s, like I look back at it and I'm like, yeah, I still remember this, but it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't have the same hold on me as like stuff from the 80s or anything before that.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing to come out of that side of things is Travis Charest. I think his art is bar none like some of the best art in the comics industry ever.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say too, like with the Cactus and Papa Balloon, is there any insight you can kind of give readers into like what the comic book is about?
Well, it's kind of about me in a way. Like the cactus represents my optimism and like my bad choices in like being optimistic And then the balloon is a kind of a negative thing. You know, he's a negative character. So he kind of represents like my bad choices and the stupid things I do in that direction. And then there's the frog who's nothing but bad decisions, basically. The guy's like a drug addict, and he's just like very selfish, and he tells lies constantly. So everybody is basically another part of me. Like that's obviously a part of everybody if you really break it down. It's just an amount of degrees in your life.
Yeah, for sure. I actually did some. I was just bored one day and I sketched out my own Papa Balloon and Cactus art, and I did put a joint in the frog's mouth because I was like, yeah, that seems like his character.
There you go. That's pretty solid that you got that vibe.
Yeah, definitely. So keeping on the topic of the comic book, how many pages are in it, and what can people expect for like extra gifts when they join the Kickstarter?
Well, the new issue is something like 32, 34 pages. Plus, there's some bonus material in the back. Uh, there's going to be a little bit of a sketchbook. There's I don't know if you know Oliver Simonson, well, but he did a book in the '90s called Captain Zap, and he actually worked with Mobius, like he did jams with him and stuff, like all sorts of guys. Like he was pretty big for what he was doing. Well, he's bringing the character back exclusively in that issue.
Wow. So Zap, I do remember Zap, but I think I'm thinking Zap Comics and not a
Yeah,
character.
it's completely different than regular Zap. This is Captain Zap. When you when you see, you'll probably either recognize it or maybe it'll be new to you. You know.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I know with the first Kickstarter, I got like I think it was stickers and stuff. I got a sticker of the frog. It's on my art desk over here. You said it was so it's just going to be prints or stickers or
Yeah, there's more stickers. There's only one new one for the new campaign, but I've got like dozens of different stickers now. I also have the frog. I have magnets of the frog, so I'll definitely be throwing those in randomly for like surprising people.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so lots of treats to go with the Kickstarter. This is actually something that I'm curious about as well, because when you're doing a project like this and you're doing it all by yourself, you're doing the writing, and it's like six jobs: lettering, editing, drawing, coloring, all of it. And then occasionally get someone to do a cover like Sam J. Royal, who's helped on the campaigns. But
Right.
what part of this, like when you do the writing, like how do you go about doing that process?
Well, with me, it's kind of like I make up a page, and then I make up another page, with a basic idea of what everything's about, and then I break the pages apart and I reorganize everything. So, like, if something's happening on one page, it might not actually be on that same page
Right.
later on. And then after I assemble the way it looks, then I go in and script it like Stan Lee style after he received the artwork. The only difference being that since I drew it, I know what everybody's going to say, really.
So you're like the Kirby and the Lee all in one.
Exactly. Because I'm not short like Kirby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I don't think he smokes cigars either, right?
No, I don't smoke anything actually. I'm pretty buttoned up.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, you might be buttoned up, but the comic book definitely isn't. So,
Definitely, I'm very open minded. Like there's zero judgment of anybody's lifestyle. You know.
yeah. And I should say, too, just ending kind of like on a final note here because we're all pressed for time today. James he's made a lot of different groups on Facebook. He's part of a lot of different groups. Obviously, we all kind of met through the cartoonist kayfabe groups, I think, and then kind of moved outside of that to other groups. But he's always been welcoming to me and everyone else. And he even bought a copy of my book, and he's put it out to everyone like, hey, check out all this cool stuff I've got. And it's not just mine, it's other creators, lots of creators. Like, I mean, you probably show off like at least 100 different creators a week, right?
Yeah, some weeks, sometimes I'll go months without really highlighting anybody, and then I like throw plugs here. Here's a bunch of people's books that I've bought. Like shout yourselves out like below in the comments, and that really works really well. Everybody seems to check everybody out, which is kind of rare, you know.
Yeah, and it's a nice little community you've kind of built, which I have really appreciated about everything you've kind of done in comics, because today, it always seems to be like there's the negative side of the community or the positive, kind of like the 90s, like there's all these people that just want to hate everything, and all these other people are still celebrating the things that make comics great. And I think you do that. You do celebrate. So I do want to thank you for that. And I also want to thank anyone who's listening, and to follow James and go support him because of all of that. He's a really cool dude. Is there anything else you want to add about the campaign, James?
Oh well, Richard Friend is actually doing the next cover for this upcoming issue,
Oh,
so
okay.
pretty big news.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So, yeah, if anyone's a fan, then definitely another reason to go check out the Kickstarter. And why postpone when there's only 6 days?
Exactly. And the thing is, this is coming down to the wire. I haven't even seen his cover yet. He's actually working on it as we speak.
Okay. So, and you're also in suspense for this Kickstarter as well, because
Oh yeah, I've got some things to look forward to.
yeah. So, please, everyone, go support James Windsor Smith. That's his name, his online persona name. I'm going to guess maybe not 100% the real name.
Yeah, it's James Stewart Smith, but there's like millions of James Stewart Smiths, and there's only one James Windsor Smith online.
There you go. So even more of a reason. I totally support that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So everyone, please go check out his Kickstarter. Again, it's going to be in the comment and underneath the video in the show notes. And James, thank you for being on. I really hope that your comics keep going because they're so unique, and that your Kickstarter is 100% funded.
Oh yeah, I've got plans for the future. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, everyone. Well, take care, and please go support James. Bye, guys.